Hi guys, this is SDJRSNF88 speaking with a video from Signals Models and a project that's probably as grand as the Great Model Railway Challenge, which is of course the restoration of our heat layout Go Forth. So as you can see, the layout is sadly a shadow of its former self. After the show, we had to break the layout up for transportation home, and of course, in doing so, the layout has obviously suffered a bit of wear and tear, as you can see. So it's currently split into 3 sections. So we have, this is the end piece here with, you see where Melcher's Manor was and the field hospital. And as we come over the top here, you can see we have the centrepiece. This is where the ruined farmhouse was, the barracks. And as you can just about see, we have the majority of Blackadder's platoon here still standing. We've got the bridge. The other bridge and all the buildings are in storage at the moment. And then of course we've got the trenches there with the mechanism here for the railgun, which of course still works. If I pull out this pin, you can see the dowel comes down, which of course releases the railgun and hits the little trigger there, which operates the smoke. So what is the plan? Well, the reason why it's over Signals is they have kindly provided us with this lovely room. They've just moved to a new premises, and basically they've offered this room to store the layout with the idea of having the layout on public display, which is absolutely brilliant. And it's going to be a one-day only show. I've probably mentioned this in another video, but on November the 3rd, Signals Models of Midsomer Norton will be celebrating their 10th anniversary. So what better way to celebrate than with a special offers in store, and of course coming to see the layout, and hopefully we'll have it restored by then. Now, I'm currently talking to you on, I believe it's October the 16th. So yeah, not long to go, less than a month to go. And as you can see, there's a lot of work ahead. So the idea is me and the team are going to come in and gradually restore the layout in what free time we have, hopefully to operating condition as you saw it on the show. So as you can see, there's a lot to get on with. So without further ado, I'm going to set up a time-lapse camera and I'm going to make a start on the wiring and getting the legs on so I can get the layout back standing to assess the damage to the scenery. So I'll be right back in a moment. Right, so it's midday, and as you can see, I've been very busy getting all the legs back on, so they're now all reattached to the boards, and we're ready to start flipping them over and getting them standing again. While the boards have been like this, I've been assessing the wiring. As you can see, this is probably what you didn't see on the programme or my behind the scenes video, is the vast amount of wiring that is involved on the layout. So we got the wiring down here, which runs the smoke generator for the railgun. We then have the lighting for Blackadder's bunker right here. We then have some wiring. I can't remember. There we are. Nope, that's what I remember it is for. It's actually for the smoke generator for Flash Art. And as you can see, that's all on there as well. And then of course we've got all the dropper wires for the lines, including the narrow gauge. Then this is the centre board, and as you can see, there's more wiring here. This is to operate point motors. There's a lot of wiring for point motors on here. That is again something you didn't see on the programme. We put in Pico operating point motors and they all worked. As you can see, they're all on there. Again, more dropper wires. What I've gone and done with dropper wires now is they originally had something very similar to this. In fact, they had these on, and as you can see, you screw the wires in on both ends. But now I've updated them to a male-female plug, so they simply unplug. As you can see, there's this one here. This is the female end, and then if we go on to the other end of the board here, that one there plugs into here, which is for the main running line. As you can see, we've got the male clips on there, and that simply is just plug in. So if we need to separate the boards again, we don't have to unscrew it all this time. We just have to simply just plug it in. So anyway, that's the wiring looms all done and sorted. The point ones I'll sort once it's standing up, as the main thing is to get the actual power to the tracks first. So without further ado, we're going to pick this board up here, which is a centre board, get it on its feet, and then hopefully reattach the other 2 boards around it. Right, so it's the end of day one of the restoration, and as you can see, there is a complete difference in how the layout looks now. As you can see, we're all standing back on its own legs. We've got the wiring done underneath. So there we go, you can see majority of the wires are now in place. Still a few more to do, mostly the point motors and stuff like that, and of course connecting the male and female plugs I mentioned earlier on to power the track, but the majority of it's done. The scenery down this end I haven't really touched just yet, but it's all survived the ordeal of being dismantled and put in the back end of a number of vans on a number of occasions quite well. As you can see, we've got the name board Go Forth with all of our usernames on there. That is still intact, which is very, very good. Of course, that'll be bolted to the front when complete. The helix is looking fine. Again, all the wiring down here around the point seems to be fine. I've managed to reinstate the wire in underneath the bridge, which helps provide power to the track. I haven't yet got around to testing the tracks just yet, but they appear to be working, well, hopefully they'll work okay. All the wires seem to be in good condition. Then, as we come onto this end, this is where the most work has happened. I've, of course, started off by putting on the back scenes, which of course go all the way around the layout. So as mentioned, we have that iconic Go Forth feel with the blue skies at this end, and as it goes towards the front, it gradually deteriorates into the dark, gloomy skies. The flashes of the distant explosions, those are now working. I've ran out of sockets to plug them in, but they have been tested, and they've been wired in with a smoke generator for a Flash Arts plane, as you can see, which has been rebuilt. It sadly got a bit damaged in its transition box, but it's now been rebuilt and is working really, really well, and the smoke generator underneath that one works. The smoke generator also for the artillery gun also works. That has also been tested, and of course the mechanism as well, so if we pull this out, that also works a treat as well. And then we have the Red Baron, and as you can see, he's happily spinning around now. There was a lot of maintenance needed, or work needed to get him going again. The pole got a bit damaged, a bit bent over in the back of the van. It's been reinstated and re-glued and reshaped, and as you can see, he's flying around quite nicely. And then of course the main worry, does the lighting work in the bunker? And as you can see, I can safely say that Blackadder, Baldrick and George have survived the ordeal, and the lighting is working lovely. So that's all for today, and of course hopefully we'll be back very soon with hopefully some other members of the team to continue work on the restoration. So see you in a bit. Right, so it's the 20th of October and we're back at Signals to do more work on the layout. We're joined today by Northern Soul Express. There we go. And we're just hoovering the track now and doing a bit of cleaning, as today the main thing we're concentrating on is getting the trains running. So Callum has kindly brought along his lovely brand new GWR Small Prairie.
We'll call it new.
What?
We'll call it new.
We'll call it new, but anyway, it's new to him. So anyway, we've got a lovely Prairie in there, and then here we have a British Rail 03 shunter, which we're just going to test on the narrow gauge, as my trench railway stock is currently being cleaned and packed ready for its next outing on Amiens at the Taunton Model Railway exhibition. So that's in storage at the moment, but they've kindly provided us with this to test on the narrow gauge section to see if all is working okay. So without further ado, I'm going to get underneath the baseboard, reattach all the wires. Callum's going to get the stock ready on the track and do a bit more cleaning, and then we'll be back in a moment to see if the trains still run. Right, so it's mid-morning, and as you can see, we now have 2 trains running. So we got the little narrow gauge, or in this case, N gauge standard 03 shunter running on the narrow gauge section with a mixed passenger and goods train. And then let's just climb up all the helix there, and then we have Callum's lovely prairie with the Colgate Express, as you can see there. I'm not sure if they needed toothpaste on the front line, but there we go. As you can see, it's running really, really smoothly and nicely, and just going off into the fiddle yard there. So we're all very, very happy. And as you can see, here comes a little Farish 03. As you can see, he's crossing the bridge.
Going pretty strong to pull up that lot.
Yeah, he's going to say, we were a bit worried he wasn't going to get out there with such a long train, but as you can see, he's having no trouble at all, and there he is off into no man's land. So yeah, on a whole, we're very, very pleased with what we've done. So now we're going to probably let the trains run a bit longer just to make sure everything's running nice and smoothly, and then we're going to sort out the scenery and start getting the buildings back in, of course fixing some of the scenes that feature on the show. So without further ado, we're going to let these run around a bit and then carry on with the scenic work. Right, so it's the end of day 2 now for us. You can see the figures there. They do need a bit of maintenance. A couple of arms I've spotted are missing and a couple of rifles are broken. But apart from that, most of the scenery work is now complete. As you can see, Callum has positioned all of the buildings, including Adie's wonderful Melchard's Manor House, back into position along with the trees. You can see we've reinstated the tunnel mouth, which has gone quite well. We've also done a bit of ballasting where the ballasting was chipped off where it was knocked in transit. You can see the gravestones are all back in place along with Callum's church again, and all of the beautiful Nissen huts he built as well, they're all in position. The nurses as well, again 1 or 2 figures have gone missing here, most notably Mr. Smith, who should be standing there. I'll see if I can find him anywhere in the box, but if not, he might have been one of the ones that was lost in transit along with these 2 guys that were down here behind the platoon here. Anyway, as we come back up around here, we have the bombed out farmhouse with the famous building where Adie had to rip the roof off during the challenge, as you saw, much to his annoyance after he spent all day gluing it on. But you can see he's done a wonderful job in the end, so that's all back in position. The bus is running and runs really, really well. The road is fared really, really good, and we popped on, it went around first time, much like the trains, which is really, really good. Again, we've restored this tunnel mouth. This tunnel mouth was really, really badly damaged as it's pretty much right on the seam. So that's been reinstated along with the hedge that covers the seam between the 2 boards, much like as it was on the show. Again, not much has happened to this area apart from the track being cleaned. As you saw, everything was working pretty good the other day once I finally set that up. So there's a few more little things I want to add on here, like there's a couple of tufts that need to be reinstated where they were knocked off. And a bit like here as well, you can see where it took a bit of damage where it was dropped. But yeah, apart from that, it's all good. The artillery siding's been tested and it works really, really well, so that's all good. And then we come back onto the front and we also have the barracks buildings, which have also now been reinstated. We've also tested the points, and amazingly, all the points motors work first time. We had a real lot of trouble getting these going when we originally put them on the layout, but they seem to be working nice and fine, which is good. This one here does stick sometimes, but as you can see, where the board's obviously been dropped, you can see it's actually, the track has shifted back and you can see it's twisting. So I think what we might do is we might try and tap this point motor a bit that way and straighten that out, and hopefully it'll make the switching a bit more smoother and hopefully allow the point motor to actually throw the switch. But apart from that, we're very, very pleased. You can see there's a bit of the ballasting here as well, so it needs a few more little tufts there as well. But yeah, apart from that, all very, very good. And if I stand back, you can see the layout is starting to look like what it did on the programme. So another thing we just need to do, put the skirt on and of course the nameplate, and it should be a-okay. So I think there's going to be a couple more days work on it, just getting the final little details that we had originally on the layout. But apart from that, it's looking pretty good. Right, here we are. It's now, what day is it? I've forgotten already. It's Monday. What's the date? What's the date? What's the date?
22nd of October, 2018.
There we are. Yeah, that's that day. And
the genius of the team.
3:18 p.m.
And it's now the third day of restoration, and we got the team here. So we got Adi here, and we got Adam here as well. And today we're going to be putting the final touches onto the layout. So main thing that I'm going to be focused on is fixing these guys. As you can see, I've just reattached some missing limbs to them. These got obviously been painted and blended back into the ones that need it. The guys are going to be figuring out some of the little touching up some of the details where some of the scenery cracked, where obviously it was split and moved. And then we're going to be putting on hopefully the Hessium skirt that goes around the front before we reattach our iconic Go Forth name board, which is right here. So without further ado, let's get the time lapse rolling and get cracking. Right, so it's the end of day 3, and again we've redone all the wiring. We've added in more tufts. Me and Adi gone around the whole layout putting all these on. We've also refixed the figures, and I've repainted them in. As you can see, Baldrick's now gained his arm and his triangle again. Mr. Smith has been found. As you can see, he is now located. Believe it or not, he was on the floor in Adi's garage of all places, and turns out he survived, so he's back on there. And then Adam's been busy doing the rewiring, and as you can see, he's got all these wires over the back of the board here. That's for all of our tracks. It's all been made a bit more neater and easier to spot. You can see our flashes are going. We've also got the smoke generator in Flash Art's Crash Plane, also puffing away there, all on the same circuit now. And if Adi pulls the trigger, you can see the railgun still works. And then hopefully, after a couple of seconds, there should be a little pop. I just heard something. Then hopefully, if I put oil in it, I think I'll put a little drop in there. Maybe not enough, but you can hear there is smoke starting to appear from underneath there. There's only a little bit. I think there's only a tiny little bit left in that generator, but the switch has been flipped. There we are, see? And yeah, I can start smelling it now. It is starting to come through, but there we go. So yeah, it's all pretty much nearly there now. So just a bit of final testing and a bit of cleaning, and then we'll be good to go for the big day on November the 3rd.